I see your demons, I'm telling them it's on sight. I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. We have a unique episode here today because actually, as I speak, you might be able to see behind me here. We got myself actually doing a post-construction walkthrough, which is kind of ironic and actually very fitting. Fitting in the sense because I'm walking this 80-unit condominium right now, really specific for post-construction clean. Still have a lot of construction going on. But the reason I think this is fitting is because this next episode is actually a live episode that we recorded at our Cleaning Profits 3.0 event with 4 awesome building and facility maintenance experts who are going to hear directly from these facility professionals when it comes to vendor management, how to get in buildings and facilities like this one that I'm in here today, and really how to navigate those relationships, how to understand how they work, the operations, and all the logistics that go into it. So this is a live Q&A. Some of the best feedback we got from last year's event was actually this insight panel. These experts are just one of a kind. And I think their knowledge and their experience is unmatched, and we get to hear from them directly on what matters to them. And at the end of the day, these are the prospects that we're selling to, and these are the people that we're doing business with. So without any further ado, welcome to our live Cleaning Profits 3.0 Insight Panel here on the Profitable Cleaner podcast.
So I'm actually going to kick off the first set of questions and background here. I actually personally know 3 of the 4 up here, and just recently got to meet Marcelo yesterday. But Mr. Matt McMullen right here, he is not only a facility expert and has seen it all from facility management side of things. He's also one of the podcast directors of Art of Construction, one of the biggest podcasts out there. And his background with the facilities and logistics in this realm, I thought would be invaluable. This was a special connection of mine. She is my wife, Mrs. Alicia Harper. So she is a facility director at the University of Colorado. I guess there is one rule. You guys can ask Alicia whatever you guys want, except as long as it's not about so that's the only rule. And we have Mr. Marcelo right here, who gave me like the head janitor is what he said, but he's Mr. Facilities at Hard Rock Stadium, which stadium with the Miami Dolphins. Been there for 9 years. So you can imagine the type of that thing. Very blessed and honored to have here. Karen Macwatters, one of our most popular podcasts we've ever produced is with this Karen right here. She's an expert in vendor relationships, vendor management. She's seen it all from, million square foot facilities to talking about how one of her best vendor relationships started with a $150 job, which ended up in a multi-million-dollar contract. So how to turn small opportunities into big opportunities. Without any further ado, if you guys would just give a 30-second intro about who you are and what you do, what I missed, and then we'll start the question.
Okay, there we go. So I'm a licensed architect in 7 states. I'm a real estate broker associate in Colorado. I do development. The way I know James real quickly is we are doing communities for intellectual developmental disabilities. So that'd be autism, Down syndrome, and traumatic brain injury. So providing permanent supportive housing for those folks. And then from the facility side, I was the Director of Facilities Management, Safety and Sustainability, which is like a mouthful, for the University of Corporation for Atmospheric Research and the National Center for Atmospheric Research up in Boulder. So we had cleaning contracts for airplane hangars, labs, got a data center, the Mauna Loa Solar Observatory had to be cleaned, so at the top of a mountain.
Hi. Voluntold if you can't tell. So I'm Alicia Harper, James's wife. I work at the University of Colorado, the Anschutz Medical Campus. We do a hybrid between our Denver campus and then the Anschutz campus as well. My professional title is the Customer Service Center Manager. I oversee lots of different things, one of which I manage our elevator contract, but I also work closely with those who manage our facilities housekeeping contract as well.
I'm Marcelo Assaba. I work Miami Dolphins, Miami Open, F1, and also the training facility for the Miami Dolphins. First and foremost, I want to thank Andrew and James for having us come out here. I think this is an amazing event. There's so many brilliant people here with so much knowledge and so much potential to have growth within each other and understand and get insights from every individual here, which all have their own niche and their own manner of doing something. And the advantage of these events is that you interact with all these people here and everybody picks up something from someone. You know, no one is great. It's never great to be the smartest person in the room. It's best to be in the room where you come out of there way ahead with new things and new knowledge that you can express and show for personal reasons and also on your business side. So once again, thank you. I run basically the sustainability part of the stadium, waste logistics, pest control, and staffing, hiring, and all of the above business development. I work with partnerships. I work with marketing parts of the team. I am in the corporate side. Unfortunately, maybe, or fortunately for me, within my division, we run independent. So that's where I get some of the comments that we had from the previous people in the relationship building and figuring things out, big on execution, not much greater than anybody in other stadiums. It's just that I've been dealt different cards, and we have 4 different sports within our facility, which is not normal around the world. But like I said, it's all from trial and error and adopting and arranging things to make sure it flows best it can. Most important thing I think we do is metrics and analytics. You know, metrics don't lie. Once you get a system going, that's what it's at, and then you work from there. Thank you, guys.
My name is Karen, and I spent the first half of my career in retail management, multi-unit, for well-known companies. And then I transitioned into industrial management. And at that time, I learned about Lean Six Sigma and ISO-related processes. And I was able to figure out very quickly that I had that success in retail management was through process management. And for the last 15 years, I have been a facility manager handling sustainability, all vendor management, and the upkeep of multiple warehouses for some NASDAQ traded companies. And it's such a pleasure to be in this industry. You folks are so kind and amazing. And I met such great people here as well. So I really appreciate the invite. This is unusual for me to get to share my information, but I have spent 15 years really drilling down and understanding how to be successful at whatever piece of that we do. And so I'd love to share that information with everybody that's interested, and I appreciate you letting me share.
Absolutely. So as you guys can see, we have a plethora of knowledge and expertise up here. I'm going to ask the first question, and then we're going to pass around the mic. And really, I want us to utilize this opportunity and time to get inside the background, the brain of these individuals, see how you can position your company in a facility that they have experience. So my first question for any one of you guys, feel free to play hot potato with the microphone if you want. So we know that there are different ways to approach a facility director, manager. Let's just assume that we are already in the door with you, but you're talking to multiple vendors. What's one intangible that separates someone when that conversation starts? Budget makes sense. All the logistics make sense. But what's that one thing that you're looking for once the conversation starts that helps them ultimately become your vendor?
I'm looking for specific language that means you understand what I need. And I'm going to be honest, 15 years and multiple quotes every year from every vendor, from janitorial to waste to pest. Most of them do not speak my language. Most of them do not understand what I'm looking for, even though they do it every day, all day. And it takes a rare person to speak directly to the topics I'm interested in, which is how you manage your teams, how you get the work done, how you have oversight, and what your relationship mantra is with your customers. So that's specifically what I'm looking for.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that. So, our success has been, I like to read people. So we have plenty of vendors. I have tons of people that call me, probably everyone else here, so yourself. I don't even pick up phone numbers that I don't have a name attached to it. But basically, I try to read the people. I try to get buy-in from, be it a vendor, a small company, or a subcontractor, that ownership or their top management. I get the feeling that they want to be part of it and participate and be part of what we're trying to get done. So they understand that if I need somebody to pick an after game and I'm building a specific team just for that vendor, I want to see their ownership or their top management be part of it, to understand the systems that we're putting in place for them to run their staff appropriately, and most importantly, make sure that, you know, we got a time span is done within that. But most importantly is that the job and the execution is done properly, right? So if something takes 5-10 minutes extra, but the outcome is amazing, I'd rather go to 5-10 minutes extra.
Working at the university, we have a little bit of different rules that we have to play with. So taking us to lunch, buying us dolphin tickets or Bronco tickets, doesn't matter. We can't accept them. So and actually that almost looks like a negative. You kind of look like you're trying to kiss our you know what. And so therefore that actually kind of puts you to the back of the list. So in our world with the RFP, we do ask very specific things, and we are looking for you to address those specific items. So when the verbiage is in the RFP, we want you to address that in very detailed order. So we're comparing like for like. So we know when we're selecting that vendor that this vendor can do this and this vendor can't. So we kind of know what we're committing to, but really, yeah, how are you going to get the job done? How do you work with your people, your turnover, that kind of stuff? Everyone can clean, right? But what does it look like on the daily basis? So.
Yeah, I was going to build on something earlier, which is integrity. That's what I'm looking for. I want you to be passionate yet invisible. Because when you're a facilities director, you've got a million different things that you're dealing with. You're dealing with the outside, you're dealing with roofs, you're dealing with the inside, and then the particular client that I had as the facilities director were scientists, and so these guys are super smart guys, and they would like to play games. So they would put stuff under tables and in corners of rooms to see whether it got cleaned or not. And so you would hear about that, right? You'd be like, well, I've had this piece of paper here for, 3 weeks and no one's touched it. I'm sure they're actually coming in and cleaning the room. So the thing I was always looking for as a facilities director is if it comes out of your mouth, then it happens. And you've got the team in place to make that happen. And if something is not working, I can tell you, and you can then give me the assurance that it will happen. And then it does happen. So really, it's a combination of integrity and passion.
I love that word, integrity. Right now, we're going to open it up to the floor. I'm going to walk you a mic. Unless Scott project, like Scott projects. Who would like to kick us off with technical flexion? Mr. Omar, and we'll go. Danny, you don't need a mic. Love it.
What's up, Profitable Cleaner listeners? Quick question for you. Are you using 5 to 7 different platforms just to manage the everyday operations of your commercial cleaning company? If so, let us help you consolidate that into one platform. Introducing you uSource. Go to usource.com, book your free demo today, and actually get started on your trial for 60 days. No charge for 60 days, all from time and attendance to reporting, vendor management, operations, sales. It's time you stop using 5 to 7 platforms and consolidate into one. So listeners, don't forget, go to usource.com and start your account today.
So that's the big one I keep bringing up, right? It's your systems, it's your metrics, okay? So probably fortunately, unfortunately for my managers, I'm involved in every aspect of the work, everything that's built there. I've done it and I've timed it, and then I give the default for an employee. So basically, we build the systems. It's working. So I'm constantly revisiting systems. Just last week, something that's been working for us for 2 years, I sat down with the team. How about we try this? And it's not that we're trying to reduce the labor hours or to get the people to leave, right? So we're trying to get the system integrated where I'm able to clean the space. It was originally 4 hours. Now we're down to 3 hours. So I get the 3 hours. I get the same aspect, but now where do we get more from these people? Can they wipe all the tables now? So this facilitates my next day when I got to come in from a recovery from 200,000 people in 2 days, right? So the more I can get them to understand that the more you give back is what I call as upper management. I go, our staff and our HQ, we're always giving back to the building. My guys are in motion, they're cleaning something, they're doing something extra. And that's what we're trying to get from vendors that come in to understand the perspective. It's not that everything's set in stone. So that's why we're always revisiting and changing all of our logistics as much as we can, be it for time, so that something improved can be added on to that system. You understand? So this is how we operate, and that's what I expect from the vendors. I give them our default and how we do things. We stay 1 or 2 days with them, and then from then on, my management team just checks behind them and see if the quality of the work is what we expect. Many of you here are professional. A lot of people come, and this is one thing I'm going to give you guys from so many people come and they say, I'm the expert. And when I see the expert, they're not the expert. So my company tells me, oh, we're bringing in some expert people. Okay, they came. They did one F1 event. Four of the expert companies never came back, couldn't handle it. So these are things that make sure you be surprised how much you know and what your expectation is for you to be able to pass this on to who you answer to or your vendors or your companies you deal with, saying that, yes, you brought these people in, but I think we can do it better because you know what you're capable of doing.
I think I'll speak to like what feels different of all of our vendors is kind of the leadership of the management of the contract. And when they are leading their people and they're invested in their people and they do more for them. So they go above and beyond. They go the extra effort. They get to know our researchers, our professors, all that kind of stuff. So we like to look at our vendors as an extension of the university. So maybe they're not wearing our logo on their shirt, but everyone on our campus identifies them and feels that they are a part and still championing our standard. So you leading down so they can lead up to you with that growth mindset, they're going to do more in the classroom for cleaning the trash, all that stuff, and the pride in that, it's going to show in lots of facets. So I think for us, that above and beyond would be the leadership coming from you and down.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about flexibility in your system because even though UCAR NCAR is not a governmental organization, it's a 501c3, money came through National Science Foundation and the government like Air Force and things like that. It was, DOD would provide funding for us. And so whenever Congress would have an issue of passing a budget or, spending was held flat or down 1%, is that we would go to our cleaning folks and say, hey, here's what we got going on. We have a flat budget, and yet we still have to keep this thing clean. And also we wrote a sustainability management plan, and now we have to use green cleaning products because that fits with our SMP. So we're asking you to do more with less. And so what we wanted is flexibility. And that's what I would look for in our selection process is who really was able to think, the classic outside the box, but who really was a team partner with us to accomplish everything we needed to accomplish.
Each one of these folks talked about partnership and understanding the role in which you're there to do. And I think the answer to your question is really easy and very specific. We can make all training broad and talk about all the great things that we already know inherently about how to run a great business. But the reality is that there's only about 4 topics that you're bringing to my table. I've got a team of 1,000 people per building, and I want them taken care of at the highest level they've ever experienced in any job they've ever had. We do not have turnover in our janitorial teams. because we make sure that they feel like family. We make sure that their leaders treat them like family and that their leaders understand that that's the value I hold. So I'm very specific about what I want and what I'm looking for, but I'm also very generous. I make sure that you write into your contract annual raise reviews, automatic renewals, pay increases for your teams, and holiday pay, because how unfair is that? My team's getting paid, your team's sitting at home. So I really look for a very specific style of management. And to be honest, Raquel's the one that introduced me and brought me, and she demonstrated that in everything that she did. Not only that, but she was able to pace me when I required her to walk every one of her employees' roles. I had 11 in-house porters all day long, 40 hours a week, and she walked it with me. We timed the sweeper. We knew it took a full day to sweep my building one time. So if there was conversation from upper management, then we could speak to that specifically. And we could say, we know what it takes to sweep this building, and there is a minute less in that. Even if we reduce it, I can reduce the expense, but half your floor is not getting cleaned. So then upper management can make some really good choices about their budget. So I'm looking for someone that can partner with me at that level.
Great question. I think we had one right here. Why not? We have it. Why not?
Voice. So, Marcelo, you mentioned sustainability, which brought to my mind LEED certification. I know 10 years ago when I was certified, it was a big, big thing. I can only imagine, A, what certification is your stadium? B, how does that affect your house cleaning? And Matt, you mentioned the chemicals as well. I'd be interested in y'all's difference, and Lisa, your certification as well. Just the different certifications, how the aspects it changes, if it's changed since 10 years ago when I was certified, and where it's at now.
That's a good question. I got some support this year after 12 years of doing that. We have a safety director that came in, and she took the lead on some of the sustainability part of it. God bless, this year they had to go and we got gold certified for a 30-year-old building. But that process and a lot of this green stuff, the waste managers not here, even though they're our partners or any of these, it's a lot of smoky mirrors. Yes. So that, so they called, they wanted a trash audit. Their trash audit is different than my trash audit. I just helped the Panthers itself, the hockey team, and I literally just opened the bags, and you go through the bags and you separate your portions of stuff, right? So it's not that simple, just opening the bags. Our building, we have a club level suites like most of the stadiums have. That's, you got 150 rooms, you got carpet, you got hard floors, you got escalator, elevators. So the trash on some of these levels is very different, right? So the club level is all catered. You got buffet style things, a lot of food waste. Where the other levels, you can have the trash cans. You build your 3-stream, 2 streams, which people don't follow as well. But so we integrate a lot of that. I tell people with the sustainability is a lot of people are scared to start, or some companies and vendors call me from around the world, said, doesn't require much. It's either the building wants to get the extra can, so at least you go from regular waste and just bottles, cans, and cups, aluminum, simple stuff. And the same person patrolling, which you guys can encourage in most of your buildings, will patrol. Maybe it's going to take us 10 minutes extra, just because you're just pulling a bag. Hopefully the residents from the building in the place or put in the cans where they go. So you're just actually taking an extra trash bag with you. But at the end of the day, now you went from 0 to maybe 10% in a building or facility being towards the sustainable side. Sustainability is so big and broad, it's kind of scary to go through it. They needed, everything's by points. So they would call me and they're like, oh, we need some more points. We have an engineering division, but I get a lot of calls for that, and then I'll push it back to them what I can handle. I went around, open aerators of the shower, because the aerators count as point. Take pictures to send it to them. Things of that sort. But it could be simple in an office, and it could be complex if you're trying to get, these big certifications, right? Because it's all point added, climate control, carbon footprint gas. I think 6 years ago, I got an anaerobic digester, these machines that do this. Florida's horrible for sustainability. You go to Seattle, it's like you're in a different planet with sustainability. You got compost and regular trash. Florida, waste management tries in hotels, and I get feedback from them from malls, and within 4 months, it collapses, right? So it depends how difficult you make it and how simple you can make it. But so it depends where you're trying to start. There's so many different levels. But you can get simple EPA green sticker on your window by doing minimum in some of these buildings. They don't require as much. So we had this digester. So all my food scraps from kitchens go in there, and it becomes gray matter water. And then, up to 2, now I'm up to 3 machines. So the first year, it was 80,000 pounds of food put in there, 40 tons that got broken down. And that's from not even being an elaborate system by us, just by the kitchen. Then after games or in between big games, they have perishables that go bad, and we just dumped it in there, whatever they don't donate after each game. But there's a lot of resources out there, and you can take baby steps and still show your customer and your client that I can integrate this for you, and you can get on the sustainability part by the simple can division. Do you understand?
Yeah, so UCAR is involved in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC. They put that report out. So they were starting to do some things before I got there. The previous director was there for 17 years, and I was there for 6 years. And the first thing I said is, wait, you guys are right in the IPCC, and you guys don't have a sustainability management plan? Certain people in Congress would be very interested to know that it's like, do what I say, not as I do. So they had implemented composting and stuff like that already, but then we wrote a plan, and then once we had the plan, then we had to implement it. And so we started tracking our waste and stuff like that. And my sustainability program manager and assistant manager, had to go through and open up the bags and do the audit. And I've never seen people so excited about digging through trash. I mean, it was like I'm glad it wasn't me, but they were very excited about it. But to get your question specifically about cleaning, we had 2 buildings during the Great Recession that we were able to get 2 buildings to LEED Platinum status, where we had geo-exchange in for the heating and cooling in the parking lots. We had solar up on the roof. And so we had these incredibly high-performing buildings that were basically, 1960s, 1970s office buildings that we repurposed them as high-performing buildings. But with that came a cleaning requirement that we had to meet specific, cleaning solutions and stuff like that. So that wasn't all of our buildings, but 2 out of our 16 buildings had those requirements. And it made us aware as we went for LEED Platinum certification, there were other costs that went with that, right? That we had to take into account. The good news is those costs were offset by the energy performance of the building.
Really good question. Karen, do you have something to add to that?
A real quick add.
Yeah, go for it.
Really, your responsibility in sustainability as it pertains to the world that I live in is to be able to indicate that you can manage change. So if you have a process and you're familiar with that, it's recorded somewhere, and you're teaching your team based on that process, and you're communicating with me on that process, can you step up one day when I call her and say, hey, I just initiated a sustainability program. We're going green building across the nation. I need you to come see me. Because every time I opened the building, I took her with me, because she indicated she understood and was able to make these things happen for me. So the process that she added overnight, because she stood there with them and we taught them how, was to separate trash. It was just that simple. So when I said I need to recycle, I need to be a green building, I have a certain number I need to meet, and she had to teach her team how not to put plastic in my cardboard. It was just that simple. And we were able to launch for a major corporation a sustainability program just based on those simple steps. Because everything else, just as he said, there's 1,000 steps we have to take, but everything else that you guys are involved in is a process, just adding that to your team's routine.
One more thing on the sustainability, since you guys are the one out there and have tons of clients and customer. There is return on investment in that, right? So cardboard is a commodity. If you pack those cardboards or get a baler, that can be resold. You can bale and your plastics. You can break down glass. That they pay for that. Or your e-waste. You can set up a bin. It's really simple. One hopper or one box, and your IT department gives you old phones, old wires. You make a call for that. They give you a certificate. So a lot of that second market, and this is where the big trash haulers make the money. I think in the 70s, they started offering you to recycle at home. So basically they were doing themselves, and they were inheriting all that cost because they were making tons of money on that back end when this was dumped and they separated. So now if you're separating this for your customer and you're getting rid of 2 bales a week, your plastic bottles they're picking up, pallets are worth money. Anywhere depends on the state. You can build the pallets and they'll give you $2.50 to $5 a pallet, depends where you are. And that's an easy thing, right? So you get tons of deliveries, you stack the pallets, you call tons of these pallet companies, they'll pick up 100 pallets and write you a check for $500. Present that to your clients, So these are simple things that there's revenue driven in the back end of it, either for your own purpose if the company don't want. You're still showing them the numbers of your sustainability recycled weight. So cardboard bale weighs 800, 600 pounds. So, it's, about 8 pounds, so it's four tons. So you give that back to your customer, and then they build all this infrastructure on their sustainability dashboards. There's software, there's companies out there. There's things that cost very little, or some don't charge you at all to remove these items. So if you're taking these things away from their waste system, let's see one of these facility buildings, they're paying for those dumpsters to get moved. The way trash moves, the waste in there doesn't cost much per ton. It's them, the connecting. When they connect to tip your dumpsters, anywhere across the country might be an average of $300 just for them to show up with the truck, connect, and take it. Your tonnage dump nationally average between $60 to $80 per ton of what's actually in the can. They make the money on the tipping fees.
So much knowledge right there. So we have time for about 2 more questions. We'll start with Mr. Alex Melgar.
Yep. My name is Alex Melgar. I've been running a commercial facility maintenance for the last 24 years almost. One question that I'd like you guys to share or answer is, what are the 3 most common or top issues or mistakes that once a contractor comes part of your network, you award the contract, you've seen the 3 top mistakes they made and how they could have prevented, why you go up for a bid?
Just kick this off. My favorite one is invoicing and the accuracy and the timeliness of it. I always find it really entertaining when I'm trying to give you money and I have to chase you. So predictability, transparency, accuracy, all the things that we're going to hand it off to accounting and procurement. It's going to go through 1,000 stages. So making sure that it's buttoned up before it gets in my hands makes my life a lot easier, and especially if I don't have to chase you, because that gets a little frustrating.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today's episode is brought to you by Cinch. If you're ready to take your commercial cleaning business to the next level, we have you covered. Maybe you're struggling with how to bid, how to create professional-looking proposals, or just how to ensure your customers' accounts are actually being cleaned at night. Introducing Cinch Janitorial Software. Cinch is a simple, user-friendly software that eliminates these types of struggles that you probably know all too well. Cinch simplifies your entire process and will supercharge your success because they remove paperwork headaches while creating a scalable, efficient, and profitable cleaning business. Get your free demo of Cinch at cleancinch.com. They're here to turn your business into a success story. That's cleancinch, CINCH.com. It's simple, it's Cinch.
This is an area that I feel strongly about, and what I'm looking for, and I'm to be honest and not too negative, 80% of the vendors, maybe more like 90, do not do this. And I like my vendors to come see me. So I want my vendor managers to come visit, to get to know what we need, and it just doesn't happen. So when I go take over a new warehouse or a new company, I very specifically start dialing the phone, chasing my vendors. And it's a painful process because I'm thinking, this is a good contract. I know it is. And I make sure that I know. I ask my vendors, where do I rank in your portfolio? And most of the time it's in the top 3. So my expectation is that each one of you have been out to visit your top 3 revenue generators that make you be able to be here at least once a quarter, or ask yourself, when's the last time? Because we're managing or working with customers that haven't seen the original vendor in years. So I'll give you a couple of chances. I'll email you, I'll call you. If you don't show, I'm looking for the next vendor, or I'm bringing someone with me that I've already developed this relationship with. So that's the most important thing that you can do, but it's the simplest and it's the most boring, because there's 1,000 other things you can do any given day than come by and bring me a coffee, or I don't care about that stuff. And to her point, you cannot bribe me, and I will not take it, because I don't ever want to hear that later on, that I had to let you go, but you bought me something. But knowing your vendor, that's a completely different situation. So I think that is probably the most missed opportunity. You don't. Yeah. Also, in being aware of what your own team is doing by visiting them. So those are the important things to me as a multi-facility manager, is that I know the heads of my accounts and that they care about me as a customer and the money that I'm paying them. Moreover, how they're treating the teams in my buildings.
One more thing. I'm sure you all have like very specific contracts that are niche to that person. Nothing annoys me more is when I have to explain that to your internal people of your management turnover. So that should be internal, and they should come to me with high level. We understand. If you want to ask me questions, I'm here all day, but I should not be explaining to you the bullet points, the details of my contract. You should come to the table knowing that.
Yeah, and the other thing is a strike. So that didn't happen on my watch. It was with the previous director. And so when I first got there, I asked to have a meeting with the cleaning company, and I said, you know what? I heard like stories about how the strike happened and you went into the VP and finance and administration and had a sit-in. Like, that won't happen here. Not like you can strike, but there should be no reason for you to strike, right? Come see me. Let's develop a relationship. Know your contract so that like we don't have to explain it to you, and we'll go through it and we'll develop a relationship and you'll be treated fairly. You know, to me, it was just a breakdown from the previous director, but it was a big mistake. We actually ended up re-upping the contract with them because we developed a great relationship, and they were a little nervous because they thought we weren't going to because they had the strike.
We have, I'm sorry, Marcelo, do you want to go? We have one more question here in the back.
So that question was amazing. All of you guys have your own companies. So Lisa and Veronica spoke, she talked about trust, right? So that's it. You get in, you get a trust. The reliability. They got that famous say, show up, right? You got a customer, you got some big time customers you want to keep. You want to show up. You want to stop by. Sometimes over communication is not that bad. We don't like, maybe I don't have time to see you, but you send a text or an email. Hey, I stopped by your facility. I talked to the team. I know you're busy, but is there anything else we can do for you? You know, it's just that little thing goes really far, right? Plus, you're showing face at different venues and visiting your people. That's an uplift itself, right? You go there, tap on the back. How's it going? We're getting 0 complaints at this place. You guys doing a great job. What can we do to make your life easier? I tell my staff all the time, talk to our front line, ask them what they need to make their life easier. We have the resources. If I got to change brooms, if I got to change a different toilet bowl cleaner that's more ergonomic, it's going to be better for them. It's not the point of making it quicker. It's good to get the good results. Give them a better tool. They provide a better service. They provide a better outcome for the buildings you guys are trying to keep, and it gives them a sense of that you're part of the team. They're part of your team. You're loyal to them because you're trying to bring innovations, and there's tons of new things coming out in this market that makes our world a lot easier on the cleaning side, right? So everybody's gonna have to adopt to autonomous cleaning. So it releases something. Big venues could take advantage of, these scrubbers and carpet cleaners. It alleviates a lot of things for you. As the business owner and things, you're getting concrete metrics because everything's recorded. It's cloud-based, it's on your phone. So a customer calls you and says, hey, did you clean up or vacuum southeast quad? I go, of course. Here's a screenshot. This is what the robot did. And you take those people maybe and you put them something that is a deeper clean, right? So the more detailed work, right? You take those hours, you explain to your client, say, listen, we got this robot working here, but we're gonna now do a higher quantity of checking under your chairs, cleaning under your table legs. So you're giving them more value back, right? So that's what they want. All right, so I'm gonna have more frequency. Maybe the restrooms will be cleaned 3 times in that level instead of twice in level. Clients will be happy to hear that because they're selling their spaces to somebody and then they're getting great feedback, So that's how you differentiate yourself. That's how you, like Lisa said, you walk 6 miles away from what everybody else is doing. And just always revisit whatever system you have, change it, adopt it, scale it. It benefits you on a return on investment. It benefits the employee. You just facilitated their workload somehow. And most importantly, you gave back to the building and beyond expectations of people. So I'm in the corporate world, but it's kind of intriguing. I still run 3 buildings, so I got to present cases to everybody. So I got to see the team facility runs very different. The players are this, you can't do that, you can't see this, you can't look at the screen, you can't do this. So I got to put staff there that I know is not going to affect my operation, right? So you got to look into your staff. I take people that are older, not into football, don't speak the language or whatever. So they operate in it daily without having to worry about the discomfort or being intrigued by what is this player doing, what's that's going on, right? Because that's privileged information, right? So you don't want that released. So you got to really study your people, study your staff. People are made for different things. You readjust them. I have concerts outdoors, 100,000 people, and my pressure washer team for the past 15 years, they're not the nicest of people where they came from. So I had to redirect them, make them work the gates so they're as far as they can be from the hip hop stage. Otherwise, I'll find them in backstage probably smoking with half those people. So you got to really know your staff and be able to integrate and move them around so that it benefits you and it's everybody that works for us is our face and our representation.
I love the answers. So for the last question here by Mr. Rafael Iglesias, this one will be directed for Alicia Harper and Karen Macwatters. And then after that, we're going to release everyone, the VIPs first for lunch. And then we're going to have a good time congregating for lunch. But Mr. Rafael, and this question is for Alicia and Karen.
Yes, I just want to ask, I need to get some insight, being that this is an insight panel. You guys as predominantly being the customers of everybody in this room. How do you manage, and I can just imagine, millions of dollars in facility that are under your watch, and all the personnel, human capital that are people that you're managing to support your role in your organization. Are you guys leveraging technology right now to support that streamline of communication to expedite your operations? And if so, what are you using?
That's a great question, and I'm going to be honest. I'm learning from you guys about social media and building your brand. I'm old school, retirement age, and I can do it on an Excel sheet if I need to. We use a lot of tools, and we have had specific maintenance software. But what I've found is an Asana program is very effective for me. It allows me to find anything I ever loaded up on a task that I have. It allows me to separate my buildings and my vendors, and it's very inexpensive if any cost at all. So for me, it is about details and keeping many details and knowing my buildings and the anything that I'm charged with at a high level. But I do appreciate the question because I do know there's probably many great softwares out there that would make the job seamless and easier. Even though these are multi-billion-dollar companies, they don't like spending money. They just don't. So if we can spend money, we want to spend it in employee engagement programs or being able to hire good vendors and things like that. So I don't see a lot of effort in. I worked for Bank of America as a VP. Their software is horrible. They're on DOS. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a great piece of software, but I can see how there's value for folks like yourselves that really understand technology. I did want to add one important thing that you may not know, a secret to your question earlier, the 3 mistakes. And I'm sorry I'm interrupting on your question, but your employees tell on you. If I have somebody in my building all the time and they know half of my crew because they're in the lunchroom with them or half of my management team, because they speak the same language or whatever the case is, they tell on you constantly. They tell on you if you aren't able to, if you have a payroll problem, they tell on you if you don't come visit them, they tell on you if you don't answer. So that may not be something that your vendor manager is comfortable talking to you about. So I host roundtables regularly with my teams so that that information can become public. So I really thought it was important for you to know that your teams talk to us. Hopefully it's good.
We do use a software. I am not exactly sure which software that they do use. They're on iPads walking through editing the space, but we have incorporated them into our CMMS system. So anyone on campus that has any cleaning issues, it's filtered through our customer service. And then we issue tickets, and that's communicated directly. That's also how we charge for cleaning services that are outside of contract. So if it's an event and you want to do an extra floor clean or you're moving offices, that kind of stuff. So all of that's tracked through our system. So we started doing that right before COVID. Our prior manager was keeping a track through emails, sticky notes, and Excel. And it was really hard to have tangible data to come back to our vendor and just saying we're getting a lot of complaints, but we didn't have anything tangible to really say what the problem areas were. So now we meet weekly to discuss our callbacks of the issues, monthly and then quarterly with management of both sides of the teams.
All right. Hey, thank you so much. Can we hear it for our inside panel, please? Hey, it's from that.
Playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr.